What's going on? My poor sound effects app. Oh well. Well, guys, it's gonna be a big day. We got a very special guest. Hold on, let me make sure we're on here. Sound effects app. Ooh. We're on Twitch. We're streaming. Reload here. Check. We're on YouTube. There we are, live now. Tapping in with Henry Gritton, my boy. Super, super special guest today. I've known Henry for years. He's got a lot to tell us. I used to sit next to him in jazz band. A classic. A lot of good times with Henry. But before... What's going on with the stream here? That's probably my internet connection. Before we get started, I've got some stuff to talk about. I spent the weekend again back in Nashville. I was recording Sarah, the model, singer-songwriter that I've been working with for probably the past 3 or 4 months. We did had a 2-hour session at Omni Sound Studios down near Belmont and Music Row in Nashville. Not too far from the very heart of downtown Nashville. What's going on with the stream here? Something going on. Is it lagging? No. It's telling me it's bad quality. Well, anyways, so I did that, and then I went and looked for some apartments to live in. Planning to move to Nashville here coming in January. That's the plan at the moment. Looking at that, kind of getting excited. But yeah, how's everybody else's week? What's been everybody jump in the chat? What we got going on? How's everybody doing? We may not have. Well, what we got going on? Who's in here? Who's talking? What we got? Not much activity right now. But yeah, so I guess we'll get ready. Go ahead and bring Henry in here. But so Henry has done quite a bit in music the past. I mean, ever since I've known him. I went to YPass with him. We graduated. I'll let him tell you about it. But he's got quite some good connections and some good placements, and it's gonna be a really good show. So let's go ahead and bring him on. Bring it on, Henry. Bring it on. Yo, yo, yo.
My man, what's up?
What's going on? Yo,
How's it going?
Are you in like a big like open room? It sounds really reverberant.
I'm in my apartment. We don't have a lot of
Yeah.
furniture in here yet. Is
Right.
it too much? I can go to
No. It's cool. It sounds
Okay.
cool. Because when I first called you, I was like, what the heck?
No,
But that's
no.
awesome, dude. How you doing? What's going on?
I'm great, bro. How are you? Thanks for having me, man.
Dude,
Appreciate it.
absolutely. I'm so glad we could do this, bro. It's gonna be
I know, me too.
a classic
It's been too
episode.
long.
So yeah, all right, bro. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Henry. What's your background in Louisville? You know, where'd you grow up,
All right.
and like where'd you go to school here in Louisville?
My name is Henry Gritton. I'm a saxophone player, keyboard player, producer. From Louisville. Grew up in Louisville. Very proud to be from Louisville. I went to Brandeis Elementary, Mazik Middle School, Manual High School, also YPass, Performing Arts School for high school. I love going to school in Louisville. You know what I mean? So it was a great place to grow up. I met a lot of really, really creative people, a lot of really artistic people, and then got a lot of inspiration from the city. So
Sweet, man. That's awesome. So
also YPass,
Yeah,
Performing Arts
up
School
here.
for high school.
Okay, now, so after what's going on after? Well, let's talk a little bit about YPass. What
Sure.
you were into all that jazz music as Mr.
I
Gregory
was.
said. Tell us about the jazz, Henry. Give us
I
the
was
jazz
well.
rundown.
The YPass thing was a really great experience for me because it really gave me a little glimpse of what a life as a musician would be like. And I think because Kevin and I went through this program together. For you guys that don't know that, but they really stressed technique on your instruments. So every day we were practicing scales and arpeggios and all this stuff to make you a better musician. So every single person in that program was really demanded to perform at a really high level on their instrument. So that really gave me a leg up when I got to music school in Boston, because of all that training I had done in high school. But on top of that, YPass was pretty amazing because I got all this great classical music experience between, wind ensemble and chamber music and symphonic band, and I got all this jazz education too from this great director named Mr. Essig. He was the jazz band director as well as the director of the wind ensemble and symphonic band, all that kind of stuff as well. So he definitely helped me improve drastically as a jazz musician. So I was doing, jazz band for 4 years at YPass. I was doing, all county band, all state band, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But he taught a jazz improvisation class too, which is really awesome.
I was right. I was in there with you.
Yeah. So we had some good times in that class, and I learned a lot. He put us on to so much great music, and from all sorts of different, all the musicians who were playing the music for the show. So at YPass, I was able to play alto sax and tenor sax and soprano sax and bari sax, and we would do like 8 or 10 shows in a row, and it was super intense. And by the time you got to the end of it, you kind of had all the music memorized. You didn't even have to look at the music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was great. Hairspray, which was my junior, I think, and Hairspray is based in 19 jazz music in it. And for whatever reason, they really loved sax in that musical. So I got to solo all the time, which is really, really fun. So, and that hopefully as part of my career later on. So that was really fun. YPass was really phenomenal. I loved
it. Jazz improv and well, I was only in the Shrek Pit Orchestra, but I remember that experience was.
Shrek was lit too, bro.
Play
a good time.
And dude. And I remember watching Hairspray too, man, because that was our junior year. It's super.
It was fun too because we got to meet some of the musical theater people,
right?
And because I guess I was really tight with everybody in the band, but and that was a great experience for all of us.
Like collaborative process.
It was a whole production, man. It was really, really cool.
Literally a whole production. Yeah. Go next.
Well, so I always knew going into high school. Well, I'll say this: when I got to the end of high school, I really got this drive for performance. I was in this little band my junior and senior year of high school, friends from high school. And we were friends growing up, and we just played and jammed all the time. And we were like, oh, we should record some of this studio, and recorded it. And then a couple of months later, we had a big concert, and a bunch of my friends showed up, and we played all this original music, and everyone knew the lyrics, and they knew my saxophone part.
Yeah.
And it was a really wild experience because that was the first time that I had performed music for an audience as background music. So when I got up there and everyone was cheering for me, my career, I think,
really?
as a performer, I got super
super hyped, bro.
Super hyped. It's a crazy feeling being on stage, and that was the first time I had experienced it like that. So that ever topped that first night with them. Even if I'm selling out Madison Square Garden with some giant artist, I don't think it'll be great, but I don't know if it will compare to that very first time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I sort of rode that feeling all the way through YPass, and then decided to pursue performance and saxophone playing and all this kind of stuff within music as a career. So, and Mr. Essig was super helpful to me, pushed me to look at Berklee and apply to Berklee, and helped me with my application and all this different stuff. And I sort of knew Berklee was the place I wanted to go, so I applied there first, and I got in, which I was really excited about. But I wasn't super sure about it, so I went and I auditioned at a bunch of different schools. And at the end of that whole experience, I was like, dang, Berklee really is the place. So I had to do a lot of extra work, but I'm thankful for it because at the end of all that work, I realized that it was really the place for me. And then as soon as I got there, it was just all uphill.
So, yeah, I remember some of those Pocket Change concerts. I know me and Patrick, though, those moments like that really kind of like you said, solidified what you knew then that you were like, this is what I want to do.
That was it for me, man. It was literally the first note that we all played together, and everyone was like, oh, because it was the first song on our little album, and it was everyone's favorite song. Yeah. And when there was a little saxophone lick at the very beginning, and as soon as I played that, everybody went nuts, and it was a really cool moment for me in my life. So
yeah. Those are the moments that you'll remember forever.
That's
so
right.
So you get into Berklee, man. You're there. Tell us, what is that like? Now, this is Berklee in Boston, correct?
Berklee College of Music in Boston. A lot of music school up in Boston. I'm super thankful to. I was, I didn't have very many friends going in. There was
Mm-hmm.
only one other kid
Right.
from YPass that came with me from Kentucky, so I was kind of starting over
Oh
from
yeah, yeah,
friends,
yeah, yeah. That's
which
right.
is a little stressful. But I'm super happy because I found from the first day basically I found like a really great group of friends. So that helped a lot. And then musically, it just felt like a field trip every single day. I mean, Berkeley is an incredibly diverse place. So within a couple of weeks from Mexico, from China, from Philippines, from Ecuador, from Australia, New Zealand, like literally all around the world. And with each of those friendships, they show you what kind of music not only they like, but that they're the music culture where they come from. So pretty quickly, I was playing, salsa music, merengue, bachata music from Latin America. You know what I mean? I did
Ooh.
a concert with the Chinese pop, like a Chinese pop music show. You know what I mean?
Huh.
I met a bunch of people, you know what I mean, from Boston, who were big into like the church music scene in Boston. So I started playing at churches around Boston. Um, but it felt my freshman year, it felt like I was just hit with like all of this music that I had never checked out. It seemed like every day I was walking and someone was like, "Oh my God, you haven't heard so and so." So I had this whole list on my phone of like went
Right.
through them one by one, and I learned so much from that. So my music taste grew exponentially. I think my skills grew a lot too because I was able to learn about the style of music and learn how to play it. Because playing sax and a hip hop context is totally different than playing in a jazz context, which is different than playing in a salsa context,
Yeah.
right? So I learned all the little rules and and differences in those styles of music and really how to perform them. So, and that was of course a multi-year journey. You know what I mean? But that was another really defining moment in my life, music that I love and things that I had never checked out before.
Right.
So that was probably the best thing about Berkeley was just phase. You know what I mean? Which
Yep.
and then also there's so much great musicians there, so many great musicians. I'm able to practice all the time with, and we're like exactly on the same page. Like we're both trying to learn the same things. We're learning from each other. You know what I mean? We're checking out the same musicians. Like I have tons of relationships like that where super competitive, and I think it was in the best sort of way, whereas like
Right.
your friends are pushing you to keep excelling. You know what I
Right.
mean? And there might have been 100 saxophone players at Berkeley when I was there, but there was 5 or 6 of us who were out practicing together. Seemed like we were getting all the I don't want to gigs at school. We were in the right
Yeah.
communities, and we were getting called for stuff. And yes, I'm competitive with those 5 or 6 people, but I'm also great friends with them because we're always trying to uplift each other and push each other. What I'm really thankful for because that was a really, really great experience. I'm trying to replicate that here right now. I'm trying to find people to play with, and it's just
Oh
you
yeah.
by yourself in a room. That can get pretty old after a while. So, I mean, my favorite thing about music is the collaborative aspect of it, of being able to, practice somebody, perform with somebody else, and learn from someone else. So now's a really hard time to try to do that, but I'm still trying to make that the focus of everything.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about some of those bands that you had played in.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
said like I know at one point you were. Oh, and by the way, Clay Devlin Henry is in the chat right now.
All right,
He
Clay,
said,
what's up,
yeah,
bro?
he was saying
How's it
what's
going,
up.
man?
Yeah, I apologize. Yo, okay, we should be back up now. Yes. All right, we're much better now. I don't know what was going on. That's my bad. Why is my FaceTime not where it's supposed to be? All right, let's give Henry a call back. Sorry, everybody. I know that's annoying. Yo. All right, we fixed it.
Hey, we
All right.
good?
Yeah, we're all good. Okay,
Sweet.
so sorry to
Awesome.
interrupt, but yeah,
No,
so
it's
all right,
okay. No
super
problem.
awesome. So you're the Ariana Grande, you're learning how to dance and play at the same time. So that obviously that I could you were just saying that's really going to go a long way for you, especially as a performer entertainer. Like that's if
I
you
hope
can
so,
do
yeah.
that and you're able to get gigs like that, then I mean, obviously that can only is going to help you and take you further. But that's
Right.
really cool. I can imagine how long it took to the coordination. You know what I'm saying? Like
Man,
that.
it was
It's like
tough. And like I'm a white guy, like I'm not a great dancer as it is, you know what I mean? So I had to work extra hard to even look halfway decent. So,
yeah,
you know. But anyway.
yeah, that's funny. Damn. Alan's mad. We stopped the stream. He said I didn't get to shout out my boy. Give him a shout out, Alan. Give him we back now.
I
But
miss Alan, bro. What's you up to, man?
yeah, nah, bro, Alan was my roommate for all of college. I lived with him
I know, that's
all
so funny.
4 years basically. But anyways, dude, so you were saying a minute ago, you're not playing with Ariana Grande yet, but
Not yet, yeah.
you do have some nice placements. Let's talk about
shoot.
Foreplay, bro. That was like
All
what,
right.
like right before? No, that was like freshman year of college,
That
right?
was a pretty wild experience. I kind of got thrown into something, and it took off, and I was really excited about it. And then, so I was a freshman in college, like my second week of school, and I posted a video of me playing along to this song, which is called "Foreplay" by Jalen Santoy. It had this great saxophone sample in it that I recognized by one of my favorite saxophone players from the '60s, named Stanley Turrentine.
Oh yeah.
And I played. Everybody was loving it on Instagram. I was like, this is cool, man. And then I got an email from his manager. It said, "Hey, man, we actually had to take down this song off Spotify because we didn't get the sample cleared. But on your Instagram video, you matched it so clearly. We were wondering if you could come in and re-record it for us so we could put it out again." And this was really like before the song was like starting to take off. And I was like, sure. Like I was super excited. This is my first little opportunity at Berkeley. You know what I mean? So I was like, sure. So my friend Ben Fox, shout out Ben Fox, one of my good friends. He's a great engineer. Went to his house because he lives in Boston. He has this cool home studio. So I spent a good couple hours really listening to the sample because there's a saxophone part that's just one, and then there's a 4-part harmony that goes during the chorus. And I had to make sure I heard all those harmonies right, wrote them down, wrote the music down, because it had to match exactly the texture, the style, the sound of the recording from the 60s, right? So we go in the studio, we knock it out. It's me playing tenor and alto sax. I have my roommate Everett Kim playing trumpet on the top line, and then my friend Spencer Stevens was playing Barry sax. So there's the three of us in there. So we had 3 people in basically 4 parts. We knocked it out in like an hour, sent it to them. They were like, sounds great. Then a couple weeks later, they sent me the master of it. It was mastered by someone who mixed and masters for Kendrick Lamar. I was like, this is crazy. And then it went up on Spotify, and it started doing crazy numbers. Like it was, so. But my biggest mistake during that whole experience was I never got the whole like payment situation figured out. Because remember, this is my first gig. I'm really excited. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be really cool and like, So basically, we get to the end of the session. I'm like, hey man, I think each of my guys need like $300. You know what I mean, for coming out here and doing all this stuff. You know what I mean? And they're like, look, man, we're new. Like, artist doesn't have a ton of money right now, but if you do his favor for us, we'll definitely get you on his album. I was like, all right, I'll take that any day. So I said no to the payment then and there, and then the album took a long time to come out, and I haven't worked with him since. So I would love to. We got in the studio one time in LA a couple years ago, and we're able to I played some stuff, but none of it was actually on the record. So Foreplay is the one song that we have together, and it's his biggest hit. So something tells me he needs another song with saxophone in it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's it's got over 100 million streams. I'm super proud of it. And just thinking about how many people around the world have heard me play that one little line is like super cool. I heard somebody listening to it at the gym, like working out in their headphones. I was like, that's crazy.
And he was like, oh, that's me, by the way.
Yeah, it was like my first little taste of that. And over my career, I hope to have 100 songs like that are big and popular. I say, oh, that's me. You know what I mean? Like people dig it. So that. Remember, because I just got to Berkeley, I'm learning all this music stuff. It's amazing.
It's a learning. Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm definitely on the right path here. So now I just got to figure out how to get paid for that kind of stuff. I'm learning that stuff slowly but surely. So because it's a tricky thing with artists. You know what I mean? Visual artists struggle with people getting to pay them. Musical artists, you know what I mean? Everybody in the arts, people want to take your work for granted all the time. So
bro.
It's this really tricky balance between how do I keep this relationship with this artist friendly and professional, but also how do I also make sure I'm able to get compensated? You know what I mean?
The biggest thing, I feel you. I've been learning about that too, like having my own rates. Like how knowing what I deserve to be paid and knowing my worth.
Absolutely.
And bro, you're always gonna have some. It's always anytime you confront somebody about money, it's always gonna seem a little confrontational because more than likely it'll be like, nah, like. I can't do that, but then it's like, okay, well, this is my price, and it's always going to be like that. But you're right that you do have to keep, you want to keep it professional, and obviously you want to help them with their art and their work. But it's a little stressful. But it's funny you say that, because I've been going through similar things recently, just with like engineering, and it's stressful, dude. But now, I mean, now and that's an awesome that is an awesome opportunity for you to like learn about, like you said, you should have asked for payment, but you still have a song with Jalen Santor, so it's like that's
Exactly. And like, even though people will be like, "Oh man, you totally squandered that opportunity," you could, like, in the end of the day, it probably wouldn't have made me. It wouldn't have made me $1 million, certainly. You know what I mean? And
right.
also, like, the amount of opportunities I got after that song came out was a lot. You know what I mean? It was really cool. So like, I would have taken that trade any day, from getting
Oh,
that little notoriety from my friends and be like, "Oh, you played on it. That's really cool." And then getting some traction after that. I think that was worth it. And now I know what not to do. So I'm definitely not going to make that mistake again
there
in
you
my
go.
career. And a lot of times people have to have one of those moments like, "Oh, okay, that's what not to do." And I'm glad that I got mine out of the way early on. So
Absolutely. That's it.
you're on poor connection, bro. Sorry, I can't see your face. As long as you
Oh, it
can
is.
still see me and hear me,
I can
it's all
see you.
good.
Yeah, I
But,
can hear you.
all right, cool.
Our connection, the streaming connection, is fine.
All right, cool.
All right. So now, a few years down the line, well, not really a few years, like a year or so, you come in contact with, with Jack, and you're playing
Yeah.
on some of his records. How'd that come about?
So Jack Harlow is a friend of mine from Louisville. We actually didn't know each other in high school. So when I got to Berkeley and I started getting more confident in my artistry and in my skills, he also started getting more popular around Louisville. So I hit him up on Instagram, I think, and I was like, "Hey man, I play sax, I play piano, like I'd love to work with you." And he was super responsive. He's super happy to like have some musicians around and to try to improve the musicality of his music, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm super thankful for my friendship and relationship with him, because it started really naturally and before things got really crazy and really intense for him. So I think the fact that I was able to give him good work, 3 years ago,
Right.
2 years
Early
ago,
on,
1 year
get your
ago,
foot in the
early
door.
on consistency, and really like solidified that sort of relationship, which is really cool. So, and I'm super thankful that he still reaches out to me every once in a while and like wants to
Yeah,
hear
that is
stuff
cool.
from me and wants to get parts from me and stuff, because someone at his level he has access to the best in the world. You know what I mean? From, Zaytoven to, Jetson, all these guys, you know what I mean? So, when I get a text from him every once in a while, I'm like, "Ooh, this is awesome." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm really
dude.
inspired to work on stuff for him. And it's really cool that we're both from Louisville. And I'm always trying to figure out how I can play more on his songs without taking away from
His goal.
his goal or like getting in the way of his lyrics, obviously, right? But we have 2 songs out together. The first one is called Eastern Parkway, which is a street in Louisville, if anybody's not from Louisville. I played a little bit of guitar. I'm a pretty bad guitar player, but I played a little bit of guitar. And then I played saxophone on like the outro kind of part of the song. And then the second one we have together is a song called River Road, which is one of my favorite personal Jack Harlow songs. His lyrics are amazing. It's really
Another
personal
street.
and it's a great story.
Yeah.
Another street,
Another street in Louisville.
another street in Louisville, and I play again a little bit on the outro. So it's really cool for me that both of the songs that I'm on with him are related to the place where we both grew up, and streets that I've been on and neighborhoods that I've grown up in is really cool. So there's that kind of Louisville element aspect to it. But I'm always trying to figure out with Jack or with any artist, like, how to commercialize the saxophone again, because
Yeah.
music in the 60s and the 40s, like it had there was big band stuff which had 5 saxophones and 5 trombones, and then there was doo-wop stuff that had horn sections. I'm trying to figure out a way to bring that back in a different context, you know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
especially when I start layering instruments, like when I layer my tenor sax, which is the big one, with the alto sax, which is the smaller one, like that's a really cool texture. If I play a little bit of flute. If I layer a flute with the tenor sax, that's also a cool texture. So, and then with Jack Harlow stuff, like there's 2 songs that I've taken, both those songs I take improvised solos on, which is really cool. So it's, again, thankful for him for letting me have that opportunity to tell my own little musical story on those records. But that's the jazz training that's coming
Yeah.
all the way across genre to hip hop. You know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
the same sort of stuff. It's like, how can what story am I trying to tell in this situation? So love working with him. I hope that we have more stuff coming out. Hopefully we do. So he's an incredible artist who's on the rise, obviously. So I'm super happy to be in good contact with him and have a great relationship with him. So hopefully we got more stuff.
Definitely. Yeah. Now, also, weren't you one of the songs I forgot about? What about his song "Used to" on the Gazebo album? It was like,
Yeah,
didn't you play a little bit on that too? Like it was
I
like it
didn't play
was.
on that one. It's called Used to Be.
Yeah,
Used to Be.
yeah,
Yeah. So that was Jack. Jack's main producer is this guy named Tufo. His name's Juan. He's a really killing producer, also from Louisville, which is
right,
really cool.
yeah.
He produced a lot of his first couple albums. Juan also plays a little bit of sax. So
Oh,
on
really?
Used
So
to
that was
Be,
him.
that
Oh, okay.
sax solo is Juan playing, which is really awesome. So
Oh,
and
okay.
it's cool because our styles on sax are very different, but they both obviously work. You know what I mean? Um, so anyway, so
Yeah, that's cool, man. Wow. Yeah, that's really awesome that you were able to get your foot in the door. Like you said, you still get texts from him. That's like, oh man, that's awesome because he's
it's awesome. It gets me real excited, bro. And I always work really hard on stuff that is for him because it's crazy, man. Like I'm thinking about my career and like when I go into hopefully one day when I go into recording sessions with big artists, it's very nerve wracking because you know that every note you play might end up on a hit record. You know what I mean? So when I'm recording at home for Jack, whether it be on piano or saxophone, I'm always doing a ton of takes, like trying to get it perfect
yeah,
because I know that if it ends up on one of the songs, it'll get a lot of streams and it'll have a lot of ears on it. So I think the standard for myself is really high, and it's sometimes I get in my head about it, and you know what I mean.
oh well,
Sometimes I
yeah,
just got to go with the first one, the best one, you know what I mean. But
true.
you know, there's a good kind of pressure in wanting to churn out like the best work for him, for sure.
Definitely, bro.
You're still on poor connection. Still trying to figure
Can
out
you
how to
not
see your
see me?
face. It's a real blurry. It's okay.
Oh, really?
As long as you can see me, it's all good.
Yeah, well, I can see you. That's weird.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, dude. So you're doing well. You've got some placements. You're obviously you're still playing, and you graduated from Berkeley, correct?
Yes, I did. Got my diploma hanging up on my wall in my room
Yeah,
right there. I'm
dude.
real
That's
proud
a
of
that's
that.
an accomplishment, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate
So
it.
now you just moved to LA, correct?
Just moved to LA. I got here a couple weeks ago. Been here like 2 weeks. So,
Nice. What made you make that move, especially
well,
during COVID?
right. So a lot of people from Berkeley end up in LA. You know what I mean? From singers to horn players to drummers, but like everybody ends up here. I think they have a huge scene. It's the entertainment capital. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah,
they have a giant music scene from gigs. They have a ton of studios. There's opportunities for me to play on TV shows like The Voice and American Idol and those house bands. There's just so much stuff going on. If you think about, there's also the TV and movie industry. I could be playing on the score for The Incredibles. You know what I mean? For any Disney Pixar movie, all of those orchestras get recorded here. Some of them have saxophone, some of them don't. So there's so much opportunity out here, and
yeah.
of course, during COVID, nothing's happening, right? So it's a really weird time to move. And a lot of people are like, yo, what are you doing moving to a new place right now? Well, like what I've been telling everybody is I really want to be here and to be networked and connected with people
Ready to
when
go.
things open up,
Right.
right? So I can be first to get called as opposed to
That's not a bad
moving-
idea.
right? As opposed to moving here after everything is happening and kind of being at the bottom of the list, right? So it's tricky. Like, how do I stay safe but also meet musicians and hang out with people? How do I stay safe but also contribute to recordings and all that kind of stuff? So I'm doing a lot of stuff in my house. I got a little studio in my room where I'm able to
Yeah.
work on stuff for people. But I'm really happy being here. It's really fun. I'm also kind of an outdoorsy guy. I like biking a lot, and me and my roommates are trying to get good at surfing. So there's so much stuff to do
That's
here.
funny.
There's mountains and beaches and trails and all this beautiful stuff, and nothing's open, and we're having so much fun. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, only imagine how much fun I'll be having when I'm able to play gigs and go to recording sessions, which is everything I'm used to doing. Because for me, I kind of think of myself as 50% live performance, 50% studio, right?
Right.
And basically half of that is gone right now.
Yep.
Sometimes more than half. So it's a tricky time to move, and I saved up enough money to last for a year here.
Mm-hmm.
So because my original plan was to get here, not take a second job like at a Guitar Center or a Starbucks, and just work on music every day and see how much money I can make during a year. Well, now during COVID, there's nothing there's not a
Yeah.
lot of stuff going on. So I'm definitely feeling that pressure of like getting that day job and like getting that 9 to 5 and just having some income come in. Anything in music I'd be happy with, you know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
I really do want to see, maybe go 6 months and see if I can get someone to take off, you know what I mean? But I'm really thankful because I got three great roommates who are all amazing musicians. One of them is named Jackson Lundy. He's a great singer, songwriter, guitar player, and I produced a song for him that should be coming out soon. So that'll be my first production placement, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna start teasing that on my Instagram pretty soon. So you guys should hear that coming up soon. But so we'll start profiting from that if it goes well. I just joined. I just made a TikTok. You know what I mean?
Uh oh.
Trying to go viral. You know what I mean?
Uh
So
oh.
I'm hoping that I'll have some luck out here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To get my music or music that I produced or played on it into the right hands or get the right ears listening to it. So. But I'm having a blast already, and like I said, there's not much going on, and I'm already having this much fun. So I'm hoping it's all uphill. So
Yeah, dude, sweet. So where in LA are you living exactly?
I'm like I'm a mile from USC's campus, so I'm like downtown ish, like 10 minutes from downtown.
Oh
It's cool
wow.
because we're right close to the highway, so we're 20 minutes from the beach, 20 minutes from Hollywood, 20 minutes from Beverly Hills, all these fun stuff, and there's tons of studios around. You know what I mean? So when I start work, Capitol Records is a place I've always wanted to record. Frank Sinatra recorded in their
Oh
big
yeah.
studio. You know what I mean? So like getting just being in the same city where these things are happening is really exciting. And I know it's only a matter of time before me and my roommates all are going to be able to have those kind of opportunities. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool, man. So you remember Marshall Smith, Henry?
yeah, yeah, of course.
He's wondering, do you have a band, or did you have a band, I guess, before you moved, that you played in like regularly? Were you like,
Yeah.
besides like Pocket Change, or like, was there anybody that you were playing with?
So it's funny. So at Berkeley, I did a lot of playing, not in any one particular band, but I played a lot for different artists, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, my roommate Jackson, like he has a band where we all support him. So yes, I'm in Jackson's band.
Okay.
I was in this band called where I was supporting this guy named Brandon Diaz, who's a great singer songwriter out here as well. That band was actually called Brandon Diaz and Soul. So I was in that band. But I
Cool.
did a ton of playing for different artists. We only have one cafeteria at Berkeley, and
Really?
inside our cafeteria there's this stage. And we have what's called calf shows. So like every night there's someone performing there, usually with a whole band. So I played like at least 20, 30 calf shows over my course at Berkeley. A lot of times playing original music from different singers. You know what I mean? So I played with a lot of girls who do like R&B kind of stuff. I did a couple ones that were like Latin music. You know what I mean? So I wasn't really in like one solid band all the way around, all along. But I had a lot of opportunities to learn people's music and to perform with them. A lot of times on multiple occasions. But I'm super happy to be in Jackson's band, Jackson Lundy's band, because as soon as the gigs start coming back, we're going to be playing all the time. And it's myself on sax. The drummer's name is Max Nudie. He's the other roommate. And then the other roommate is named Solomon Smith. He's a great bass player. We all play for him. So we have a whole little band in our house. We have a whole little studio going on in our house. You know what I mean? We can be the backing band for anybody. So,
Right.
Got great people to play with, great vocalists to work with. So,
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
Marshall's saying he works out in Gatlinburg at a theme park, and if you're ever out there, bro, he books live musicians.
Oh,
I'm not
okay. I'll
sure. I
definitely
don't,
keep
Marshall.
that in mind.
What theme park is it, Marshall? I don't know, because I can't. I know he's like doing like. He said, "Oh, do you know some lady named Heather Prophet?"
Yeah, that's my cousin.
Oh, okay. She's on here. She says, "Great answer."
Oh,
She's
sweet,
on here
sweet. What's
too.
up, Heather?
Yeah.
That's
We'll have
awesome.
to get the name of the theme park from Marshall,
Yeah,
but yeah, I
thank
know
you,
he's
Marshall. I
doing that,
appreciate
dude.
that, man. Because
Yeah.
that's obviously like that's another whole half of this my dream that I'm working towards. You know what I mean? Is this traveling thing and being able to
Mm-hmm.
perform and tour. I've always wanted to be a touring musician. You know what I mean? Imagine I'm on the road with somebody gigantic like Justin Timberlake. You know what I mean? And
Oh,
you
dude.
fly to Sydney, Australia, and
Yeah.
you have the whole day to hang out in Sydney, and then at night you play for 30,000 people and then
Yeah.
the next day you do it again in a different city. Like that's got to be the coolest job in the world. So
And
again, not
and
much of that stuff going on right now, but hopefully we'll be able to do that.
yeah, and if you did play for Justin Timberlake, you would already know how to dance, so you could, you know what I'm
Exactly,
saying? You could
exactly.
play, you could play and dance.
you
Now
know
that would be
and
crazy.
my roommate Jackson, like, as soon as everything's normal, he's looking to book gigs. He already did one little northeast tour where he started in Boston, went all the way down to Florida. You know what I mean? So you start on a small scale like that, and you hope that the artist that you're working with will blow up, and then we start to play bigger and bigger places. But if I'm working with another artist in LA who's really not doing too much, you jump from him or her to a bigger person, to a bigger person, to a bigger person, and then all of a sudden you're playing with whoever. You know what I mean? So there's lots of opportunities to sort of climb that ladder to the top. You know what I mean? And it's just like any other thing. You got to have a good personality. You got to have a good work ethic. You got to be on time. You got to come prepared. You know what I mean? And again, super thankful to why I passed to Berkeley, because I definitely feel like I have the skills and I have the ability to perform. To perform the tasks that anybody would be required
Yeah.
of me. You know what I mean? So, so I'm super excited for it, and I just can't wait till everything's back to normal. So.
Yeah, dude, definitely. That's cool, man. Yeah, so Marshall says the theme park is called Anakista. I remember him saying
Okay, I'll
that.
definitely write it down. Appreciate that,
I've never heard
Marshall.
of that, but I do remember him telling me that when he moved there. Dude, yeah. Sweet, man. So, all right, so talking about all this and everything that I guess you kind of already touched on it, kind of described it, but describe your creative process. Like, if you were to sit down and, like, well, really, just in general, what is your creative
Yeah.
process like when you're playing or when you're producing?
So,
Like, what are you doing?
as a saxophone player, I have to practice every day. You know what I mean? So a lot of that stuff is really boring, and no one want to listen to it because I'm playing long tones to keep my muscles strong. So,
Right.
Just going up the scale. It's really boring stuff. But if I'm sitting down to like record for somebody, a lot of times I'm trying to find an idea, like some sort of melodic theme, a horn line, something to complement the lyrics or the music that's going on that doesn't overpower, but also just enhances a little bit, right? I'm a really musical person. Like, I love throwing in stuff. So I'm always trying to figure out how to take something and make it more musical. Whether I'm adding piano or I'm adding a synthesizer part or I'm adding sax or I'm adding flute or something, right? So a lot of times I'll sit down and I'll try to find the spaces where there's not lyrics going on to add something. And a lot of times my first idea is best. So I'll like put my little voice memos on.
Yeah.
I'll play through the song and try a bunch of different ideas. I'll listen back to it. I'll be like, okay, I like that first idea a lot. Maybe if I move it from here to here or here to here, and then I'll record it. And like I said, I'm kind of a perfectionist for everything. So I'll record it a bunch of different times to get the right take. And it's really interesting when you record yourself and then you record another layer of yourself, because you can get it to sound like one group of people, you know what I mean? Which is really, really cool. And that's a skill that I learned from YPass and learned from Berkeley. It's so important in music, is the ability for your instrument to blend with another instrument. When I was playing with you, next to you in YPass, we had to make our two little saxophones sound like one. You know what I mean? So when I'm playing for an artist, I'm trying to make my flute and my tenor sax and my alto sax sound like one, texture. And that's, I did that in jazz band settings, in all sorts of different settings. And then I'm also doing it when I'm recording for people. So, I'll layer myself a bunch of times. I'll try different little ideas here. And with an artist like Jack, like sometimes he'll pick this, he'll pick that, he'll move this here where he likes it, But the idea is just to give him a bunch of different ideas and see where he takes it, Right. So that's usually my creative process.
Cool.
Of course, on top of like practicing, fundamentals, it's just like being an athlete. You gotta practice your free throws and your layups. You know what I mean? But I also do a lot of what's called transcription. So when I'm soloing and I'm making up my own solo, I'm always looking to have more vocabulary, more phrases to play. I think with any creative person, any writer, any artist, they always feel like they're painting the same thing, they're writing the same thing. For me, I always feel like I'm playing the same thing. So I'm always looking for new vocabulary. And for that, you have to turn to musicians that you like and check out their ideas and how you can copy them and then also transform them to make them your own. Transcription is taking a solo like an improvised solo, learning it note for note, a phrase by phrase, little every little detail matters. Really learning that, ingraining it, and then taking pieces of it and playing it elsewhere in your own solo. So all of a sudden, this person's vocabulary mixes with your vocabulary and becomes this whole new thing. So I do a lot of transcription. I do a lot of practicing fundamentals, and then I do a lot of trying out new ideas on my own and seeing how I can layer myself differently. What instruments together create this texture versus this texture. It's a very explorative process, and there's always something new to do and something new to play, and that's what keeps me going every day. Is that just that desire to keep striving and to keep learning and just to keep trying different things. So it's an ever expanding, beautiful thing because it never ends. So
It never ends.
it's also
Music never ends.
very intimidating in that way too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
but,
man. That's super crazy, bro. So what you got in store in the future? What's going on?
I got this single with my roommate Jackson Lundy coming out soon. We're working on a title for it. I don't want to give it away, but it's sort of referencing a song that everybody knows, and we sort of put our own spin on it. So I'm excited about that. Like I said, that'll be the first thing that I produced that will be out on Spotify. So that's really exciting.
Right.
And then I'm just trying to find artists to work with here in LA. I'm trying to find artists where I could produce for them to put it on my album. There's a group of musicians that I look up to a lot called Brass Tracks.
They produce for Chance.
The one dude's name is Ivan Jackson. He's a really great trumpet player. And they have their own albums out where they produce the whole thing. They play trumpets all over the whole thing, and they get these great vocalists to come in and sing on it. And they work with people like Masego and all these really cool artists. And I would love to do something like that, like a collaborations, small EP, small album, whatever, where it's me, Henry Gritton, producing, and then so and so singing. I could give one of the songs to my roommate Jack, give one of the songs to my roommate or to my friend Brandon Diaz. You know what I mean? And one of my friends Malaya might sing on a song. You know what I mean? And then I could put it out, have 5 or 6 songs that I've produced and made with all these great artists. You know what I mean?
Right.
And maybe have one song in there that's just instrumental, just for me. But
right.
Again, it's that collaborative thing I'm really interested in, and I hope to do more of that. So that's definitely a next, 6-month kind of goal for me. You know what I mean? But still, just practicing every day, trying to get gigs, trying to get better, trying to learn. So.
Absolutely. Huh. That's cool, man.
Thanks, bro.
Super, super awesome. Let me see. I was gonna ask. Okay. So you've been. Where else have you traveled? I mean, you've been to L.A., you've been to Boston, you were in Louisville, obviously. Wherever have you been out of the country playing music at all, or where?
Yes. So I had this crazy experience in Berkeley. So Berkeley's a pretty special school. A lot of schools have study abroad programs where you can go anywhere you want. You can just pick where you want to go. Berkeley, we only have one place to go. We have a sister campus in Valencia in Spain. So I studied there for 4 months, which was an incredible experience. First of all, because my Spanish got really, really good. I was speaking Spanish every day more than English. It was crazy. I met all these local musicians that played flamenco music, which is so beautiful. Acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen a drummer sitting on a box and playing, it's called cajon. So there's acoustic guitar players, a cajon player, dancers, and everyone's clapping along. It's a beautiful style of music. So I got to play flamenco music twice a week with local guys speaking Spanish. You know what I mean? I just jumped straight into their culture there. Also, the weather there is like LA. It's on the beach. There's palm trees. It's warm. It was a crazy experience.
Sounds awesome.
And then also every weekend, me and my friends would just go travel because going from Louisville to Nashville is going from Valencia to Paris. You know what I mean? Everything was close. So we would get these crazy cheap flights and be able to. So I traveled all around Europe. But yeah, so it was an amazing experience, and that really got me interested in traveling also, which got me interested in touring, right? Because I want to try to be playing music and traveling and checking out new places. So that was a really fun moment for me. But yeah, so I got to perform in Boston a lot. I traveled to New York a couple times to play with Brandon Diaz, which is cool. I performed in LA a couple times. Hope to do more of that, obviously, when everything's normal. And then I performed in Spain. So that's basically it. But I hope to have that resume be even grander and larger over the next couple of years. You know what I mean? When I start doing tours and stuff for people. So
what did playing like that in Spain, or where when you were playing that flamenco music and like playing on the beach and stuff, what was that
Yeah.
like? Like, what did that bring? Did that
Well,
bring any kind of
it's
realization or a different perspective to you? Like,
totally like it's kind of what I explained earlier. Like I just learned to another extent how much all these different styles of music are related to one another because again, it's very you know based on improvisation. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm trying to find the spaces in the music to contribute my little 2 cents without stepping on the singer. You know what I mean? And getting in her way.
yeah,
And then also just like the church band, like we would have songs to learn. And I would have parts to learn, and like I'd have specific things I had to play. And also, there's sections to take solos. You know what I mean? There's sections to interact musically with the drummer, you know what I mean, with the people who are clapping. Like it's all just another like a whole vibe. It's just like let's just see what happens. It's very creative and really collaborative and just really beautiful. So that is very closely related to the church thing, which is very closely related to the jazz thing, and just like all these great styles of music they just require and demand all that great collaboration and from the musicians in the room. You know what I mean? So, and then just being able to do that within the backdrop of like learning about Spanish culture and
yeah.
Spanish language and Spanish food and Spanish music, like it was really special. So I really hope to go back there someday. And if they had like a giant music scene, I would love to live there. You know what I mean? But
Right.
places like New York and LA and Nashville sort of are the hubs. Atlanta in the States. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Plus, I'd really be on my own if I moved all the way to Spain. So,
Yeah.
but it was an incredible experience. I'm super thankful for it. So,
Absolutely. That's awesome, man. I'd love to go. I was in Belize last summer, and that was
sounds amazing.
it
Bro.
was. I mean, that's like it's Central America, and I mean it was nice. It was super hot, but it was cool. We
Yeah.
did some audio work. We set up a studio, and we learned about like international law. It was the
That's
class.
fire.
The teacher I went with taught like copyright law and contracts and stuff. So it was interesting. It was really interesting. I learned a
That's
lot
really
about
cool.
the culture there, of course, and it was definitely a neat experience.
Mm-hmm.
The oceans and like the islands were beautiful
I bet,
for
man. That sounds
snorkeling
really
and
cool.
stuff. And
Oh, jeez.
oh my
That
god,
sounds so
yeah,
cool.
it was amazing. So now that you're in LA,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I was typing this question, I was like, can there really be a comparison? But I think there can. What are you seeing? What have you seen in the LA creative scene? Even though right now there may not be a whole lot open, comparing that to Louisville's
Yeah.
creative scene, really just in general, like what's going on? What's happening? Like,
It's
how do you
funny,
feel
like
about it?
there's a lot of great energy in my apartment right now because we're all working on stuff together, and and to be honest with you, that's the only thing I've done so far. I haven't been able to go to gigs or go to sessions yet, so I can't really compare those scenes super well yet because I haven't really experienced it because nothing's open. But I love all the energy in my house with all these great musicians. It's really awesome. But more so, like I've noticed a difference in people in California versus people in Boston or New York or Kentucky. You know what I mean? Like New York is very like frantic and everyone's like rushing and and everyone's really excited. And LA is like really relaxed and really chill and just like really calm. And so there's good qualities to both of those things.
It's calm and chill in LA, really.
Yeah, I think like the people that like they're less in a hurry. You know what I mean? Everyone moves a little bit slower. And like I've always wanted to live in New York City. Like it's such an amazing place. The energy in the city's just like super incredible, and it's really just gets me going. Just like walking around and seeing all that hustle and bustle.
Yeah,
And LA, everything is really spread out. So I'm in my car a lot. I'm driving, stuck in traffic a lot. You know what I mean? But they have all this,
yeah, stuck in traffic.
all these
Yeah.
little cities that are around LA, like little city, like suburbs almost, like West Hollywood and Studio City and all these little places. So it's less of one cohesive thing and more of like a bunch of little things. And the only downside is that you got to drive a lot. You know what I mean? It's a 20-minute drive, half an hour drive everywhere you go. But there's going to be so much to check out when everything is open. I'm going to have a ton of opportunities. I'm just really excited about it. So, but I can't really compare it too drastically yet because
Right. That's what I was
not
thinking.
much. Unfortunately, not much going on right now. But I am excited to be here when things do get rolling.
Totally, man.
So
Cool. So let's see here. Some of the All right, so in 5 years,
Hmm.
based off people you've worked with from Louisville, things you've been hearing about Louisville, in 5 years, even 10 years, where do you see Louisville's creative scene?
Louisville's creative scene. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, well, Louisville already I can tell is a really amazing place, and they got tons of people that are coming up and you know that are excelling at a national level that are all from Louisville, which is really exciting. So
Right.
I just see it blossoming. You know what I mean? I just see it getting bigger than it already is right now, and there's more people coming out of the city who are artists, musicians, writers, directors, filmmakers.
Yeah.
Artists, musicians, like the whole nine. Like all those are my favorite kind of people to hang out with and to be around because I feel like our energy just matches. You know what I mean? So I hope that there's more of that stuff coming out. You know what I mean? So. Um, it's been an incredible place to grow up, and I feel like I was always looking for a bigger city,
Hmm.
to
Definitely.
sort of climb that ladder. But I have friends who stayed in Louisville and who are excelling tremendously. And they're gigging all around Louisville and they're playing at these incredible venues and they're in bands and they're on radio and they're getting streams. So it's like, you know, I had this experience where I went to Boston, which is a bigger city than Louisville. And I was like, oh, this is so amazing. And then it kind of got me excited to reach for that final step, which is either in New York or in LA or whatever, right?
Right.
But for people that stayed home, like there is such a beauty in that, and like really soaking up everything around you and meeting everybody around you, and like you know, being really known. It's like a big fish in a small pond versus like me, a little fish trying to break into a gigantic ocean here in LA. You know what I mean? So it's a different thing. But I always feel super happy to be home. I'm always playing with people when I'm home. Like, I've done more playing at home over quarantine than I have with musicians than I have here. You know what I mean? Because, a lot of my friends who were in LA actually moved out, which is the scary thing because they were like, man, there's no work right now. But I'm really trying to push myself and to just have that drive and and that will help me stay here
Hmm.
throughout this difficult time. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's a lot of great things about Louisville, and I would love to like go back and live there someday, raise kids there or whatever. It's a really great place. So um, I just hope it keeps growing in the way it does.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better. It's a good point. Yeah, I'm definitely my plan right now is I'm going to Nashville in January.
Hmm.
I'm just
Yeah,
moving, getting out. I mean, I'm in Nashville. I was in Nashville this weekend and like 2 weekends ago, and then
yeah.
probably since I graduated, I've been there probably like 8 or 10 times. Like,
Oh man,
I
Nashville's a cool
I just
place,
like
man.
being there, dude.
Bro,
It's just
so I
fun.
drove I drove out to LA with Chris Russell, who's a great friend of mine.
Yes,
He was the
bro. Tell
drummer
us
in
about
Fire
that. How
Machine.
was that?
Right, it was an amazing trip.
Shout
Like,
out to
first of all, we
Chris.
hadn't shout out to Chris, man. We hadn't seen each other in like probably over a year and a half, so we had a lot of catching up to do. So I drove from Louisville. I picked him up in Nashville. He showed me all around. He took me down Broadway, which is like has all the famous music
Oh
clubs
yeah.
and the bars and all that kind of stuff. It
Oh
was
yeah.
pouring rain, so we didn't get to go in any of them or whatever. But and then he took me down Music Row, which they have. It's like a regular neighborhood street, but they have all these houses that are like the foundation of the music industry. There's
Sony,
Columbia
Warner.
Records and Sony and Warner all in this one street. So that was really cool to see. And then we went to his house, man, and like Chris is living at this beautiful house with this gigantic backyard, and there's woods and there's you know
Really?
the crickets and everything just sounds so pretty. Because in Boston, I was so urban. I was right next to a highway.
Yeah.
The only thing I heard was,
Right.
you know what I mean? So it's like I came to
Uh,
Nashville.
uh.
I'm really hanging out in Chris's backyard, and there's birds and I'm like, man, I would love to live here. You know what I mean? So definitely, I definitely put Nashville on my radar after that trip. Um, but yeah, so I picked him up in Nashville. We drove down to Texas, saw some of our friends in Austin. We went to Dallas to visit his grandparents. We went all the way across to New Mexico, up to Arizona. We stopped in Sedona, which is an incredible place. I
Oh, I've been
recommend
there.
everybody go to
I've been
Sedona.
there.
So we rented mountain bikes and we were riding mountain bikes around Sedona, which was really fun. And then we went up to the Grand Canyon because I'd never seen the Grand Canyon. And then we went down to LA. And then he was hanging out here for a couple of days, and then he flew back to Nashville. But it was a great trip. It was like a great bro trip. You know what I mean? We camped a lot of times, had some great food. So And he was great company. Like it really didn't feel. We had 7-hour drives every day, but it felt like it went
Right.
by really fast. So
Oh yeah,
it was a really fun time.
definitely. I would love to see Chris. I don't even remember the last time I saw him.
Yeah,
But yeah, shout out to Chris. That's
Shout out to
cool
Chris.
that y'all did that. You said
It
he's
was
where?
really fun.
Where is he living in Nashville? Where do you know where you met?
I think it's called East. He calls it
East
East
Nashville.
Nashville.
You said
Yeah, I
he
think
lived
it's
in a house
East.
by himself.
No. He was with like 6 or 7 other people.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
7
but it's
people.
a gigantic. It's like a mansion, bro.
I bet.
It was a
Dude.
huge place. It was beautiful.
I bet.
But
And when did you do that? When did you go with him?
that was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
2
So.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it was the perfect time to go because he was technically in class for a couple days and he had to zoom in from the car on a couple different occasions.
Yeah.
But like that's the only good thing to happen out of this whole quarantine thing was that we were able to do this trip because if he was in class regularly, he wouldn't be able to go to miss a week of class. You know what I mean? So
Right.
but he had a Tuesday and a Thursday class and that was it. And we were gone like Friday to Friday. You know what I mean? So it was really really fun.
Yeah, dude. That's cool. Did you so y'all went to the Grand Canyon too?
We did, and that was my first time there. It was really, really crazy. There's places that you can actually like sit on rocks that are outside of the little gated area. So you're sitting on this rock, and you're like, man, there's like a 2,000-foot drop beneath you. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah.
it's definitely a little sketchy, but it was made for some good pictures. So
Dude, yeah. I bet
You
y'all
know.
got some I was on your Instagram scrolling through. It looks like y'all got some crazy pictures.
oh, we got some good ones, man.
I bet. All right, hold up. I've got a little segment here that we're gonna
Oh,
do.
shoot.
What the heck? Since you're from my time.
Do I have to see your screen to do it?
No.
Is it-
It's
okay,
it's a total opinion based thing. Just because
Okay, cool.
because you've lived in Louisville. I don't
A
know
little
why
rapid fire.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
getting
it's
nervous now.
just no. I don't know. I don't know why my timer's upside down, but hold up, let me find it. Okay. All right, so it's just totally opinion based stuff. Don't get too nervous, Henry. It's not a big deal. All right, bro. So basically, I call it the Lush Lockdown. I'm gonna give you 10 seconds. I'm gonna
Okay.
ask you a question, and you answer it, and it's pertaining to Louisville. It's totally
Okay.
like opinion based, just whatever you
Got
think.
it.
So let me set this time right here. All right, first question. You're in Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
You've got $10 in your pocket.
Okay.
Where are you going to eat? You got 9 seconds.
All right, I'm going to Royals, and I'm getting the medium chicken
Okay.
tenders with the mac and
Okay.
cheese.
I can see that. Yeah, I ate at Royals a lot. I was hanging out down there a bunch before quarantine at a studio, and
Oh,
they
that's awesome.
their chicken it's pretty good. I like
pretty good.
I like Joella's better, but
Well, I haven't been there. I'll have to check that out.
you've never been to Joella's.
I don't think so. Where is it?
I mean, it's like hot chicken, but
Okay.
Joella's there's one on Frankfurt and there's one out in Middletown.
Okay.
But definitely check that out. But like I said,
will.
Royals is pretty good. But I'm not mad at you for that one, Henry. All right.
What else you got?
Next question. All right, your friend gives you 2 free tickets to a Bats game. Are you going? You got 9 seconds.
Absolutely, bro.
Oh,
The
that
Bats
was quick.
is a great experience, man.
Absolutely, I
It's
agree.
like all the energy of the major leagues, but for the hometown price.
Yeah, for the
catch a foul ball.
for the farm team. Yeah.
that little entertainment between the innings,
Oh yeah.
unparalleled, man. Unparalleled.
Oh yeah. Why? That is so weird that this timer is upside down. But, anyways, oh yeah, that was quick. Yeah, I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I'm still gonna.
I love watching baseball. Baseball is my favorite sport to watch. I'm not even kidding.
Plus the stadium food, dude, like a bratwurst or so. You know what I'm saying? That's
It's hidden, bro.
always a
It's
classic.
good.
All right, let me ask you this. So you've got in Louisville, you've got what was the name? There was one pocket change show that y'all did, and it was like during winter break.
Yeah, it
The
was
senior
at the new
year.
vintage, I think.
Yeah, it was the new vintage. Is that what it was?
That was
All
the one that was real like important to me.
Yeah,
That was our
yeah,
first
because
one,
I remember
so.
because like a lot of the seniors from Manual were there. I remember.
Yeah,
that,
it was
but-
crazy. It was really fun.
Okay, so you've got the new vintage. Actually, I don't know. Remember the Tim Faulkner art gallery?
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's still open anymore. But if you
The new vintage closed, man.
oh, it did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
dang,
All these
well.
places are going out of business, especially right now.
Right.
Terrible.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. All right. 10 seconds. If you could
Anyway,
play
yeah.
at the new vintage or Tim Faulkner art gallery, which one are you choosing? Go.
if I could sell out Tim Faulkner because it's huge, it'd be really cool. The space is cool. There's art everywhere. That would be a
Yeah.
cool space to sell out. But the new vintage is really really cool and
Really,
tight and
really
like
like intimate.
intimate.
Yeah,
And
I remember that.
exactly.
That was a fun
Yeah.
show
Could
for
see
sure.
everybody. My
Yeah.
my grandparents came and my grandma was in the back. She stood up on a chair. She was like recording the whole thing on her phone. Such a sweetheart. But so yeah.
All right, last question, Henry.
All right.
I'm gonna ask you this, all right, because you deserve this question.
Oh,
John Coltrane or Charlie Parker? You got 10 seconds. Go.
I'm going with Bird, bro. I'm going with Charlie Parker.
Why?
His language, his bebop language, bro. It's like a puzzle. It's like code. Like everything in there is beautiful. Like the way he moves between notes. But then Coltrane is just straight energy, man. So that's
Yeah.
a really hard thing to pick. But I definitely study more Charlie Parker than Coltrane.
Okay.
But I need to start shedding some more Coltrane though, because
That's interesting.
that stuff will keep you busy for a lifetime, man. I'm not even kidding.
I swear I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with Coltrane, but I mean I like Parker, but some of that bebop
Yeah.
stuff I mean,
Have you heard Bird with Strings?
oh, of course, that's my favorite Charlie Parker album.
Yeah. That's it right there, bro.
Yeah, no, that
That's it.
that orchestration and like instrumentation was genius, especially with
beautiful.
him playing was like it turned out really well. That's my favorite Charlie Parker album.
Me too.
But well, Henry, this just about wraps things up. It has been
Bro, it's been a pleasure, man.
absolutely and
Thank
great
you
to
for
catch up,
having
bro.
me.
Great to catch up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so y'all can follow Henry on Instagram at just Henry Gritton, one word, simple,
me.
simple,
First
makes
and
sense.
last.
You've got Jack's music is streaming. Obviously, Jalen Santoy's the song "Foreplay" is out there. And you said you don't have a name for this.
I don't have a name
single.
for you, but I'll be teasing it soon, so just keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, so just follow Henry's
I'll
Instagram.
text
You
it
got
to you
like
when it's out, Kev, so all that kind of stuff.
yeah, and then Henry. I know.
I'm also on TikTok now. If you want to give me a
What's your
follow on
TikTok? What's your TikTok?
It's my first and last name too, bro. Just Henry Gritton.
Henry Gritton all the way through. Yeah,
Nice and simple.
cool, man.
So
You do any streaming on Twitch?
I don't.
TikTok.
Maybe
What's your
I'll
TikTok?
get my first and last name too. So
Yeah, you should look into that. Start just playing sax on Twitch, bro.
yeah,
People,
if I'm recording something, or, making
People
a record
will-
for somebody, that'd be cool.
people will tune in. But yeah,
bro.
dude, Henry, it has been a pleasure.
thank you so
Another
much for
classic
having me, man.
episode. Great to
Thank
catch
you,
up,
man.
bro.
Yes, sir.
Keep doing your thing. Keep in touch, dude. Keep in touch
Appreciate
with
it.
me.
I'm gonna come visit you in Nashville soon. I'm gonna see you and Chris at the same time.
Yeah, bro. Oh,
Just
we
once
have a
you get out
blast.
there.
We'll have
Yes,
to
sir.
get we'll get Alan because he's
bro.
still there. I
The
think
gang
he's
back together.
yeah, he'll probably be there for about another year or 9 months or
Sweet.
so. So we'll definitely we'll get something going, bro.
Awesome, bro. Well, it's great talking to you, man.
Yeah,
Thanks
dude.
for having me.
Good
Feeling
to see
very
you, bro.
honored.
Tell your
All right,
family
man.
I said what's up.
I will. Take it easy, bro.
You too. Be safe, bro.
Bye.
Man, why does my interface keep popping up? What a classic episode that was. Always good to hear from Henry. That's my boy. I've known him since freshman year of high school. We've been playing sax together and just chilling, hanging out, being good friends, man. He's a good dude. Got a lot going for him. So, hit him up, let's see what he's got going on and keep in touch with him, DM him. That's pretty much all I've got for this week. I appreciate everybody that was tuned in and everybody that tuned in. Marshall, I will tell Henry that you're booking for October and next summer. What else is going on? So, yeah, this is episode 15. We're halfway through season 2. That's crazy. It feels like season 1 just ended. And shout out to everybody that's been on the show, that's come on here and spent time with me talking about their craft and their art. And, again, I'm here shining light on Louisville native creatives, getting their stories, trying to give them exposure. Next week we've got a big guest, another big guest next week. That's going to be really cool. I'm going to get some pictures with him this week, so that'll be nice. And other than that, guys, just follow the Twitch. Let me pull that up. It's just Lush Louisville _ Ooh. Follow that. I'll be back this week in the morning, streaming, making beats, doing some sampling, stuff like that. And yeah, other than that, episode 16 next week. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Y'all be safe. Lush Louisville.